still getting underway there. And of course, I am pulling this up on my phone so I can monitor your comments and see how everything goes. Because this is Ask a Paramedic Anything. I do believe that much of your education starts when you hit the road after school. I'm currently going back through class. We can talk about that a little bit today if you like. I definitely want to talk about stress and debriefing and talking about your feelings and dealing with things, because that's a very, very important part of being in EMS, keeping your sanity, keeping your health. And it's just not something you're prepared for all that much in class, to be honest. So I am getting a little spinny spin. Oh, stop messaging me. So it locked it at 6 seconds in. What is going on, people? Let me hit test. All right, that worked. Why is the video not going forward? Did I accidentally pause it? Let me refresh this thing here. So yeah, this is a conversation, but if I can't get your side of the conversation, right, it's going to be more of a lecture. And we've all had lectures in our life. I think I rather the conversations for sure. Okay, there it is. It caught up. I got my comment in there. Oh, see, I like to hear myself speak, so let me let me turn that down. But yeah, so the Georgia Institute of EMS is going through a lot of stuff right now, getting a couple offices tidied up and straightened up. A lot of great remodeling going on. Told Tom he really needs to do some videos and post them here on the Facebook page. And if I think about it, see, why does it have to be Tom? I am the media specialist. I should be able to do that. And I'm being lazy and not thinking about it, putting myself first, because that's what I do best. I do have a fresh cup of coffee, though, going. Oh, it's so good. I got a little coffee maker under my podcasting table behind me. And you might ask, why do you sit at a desk if you have a podcasting table? Because I don't have a producer. I need a producer to sit at my desk to run the tech, so then I can sit at this beautiful hardwood. Here, I'll move for you. Well, and of course, not sponsored by Coors Light, but I do have this beautiful hardwood table with high boy stools to go with it. It's just perfect for podcasting and for sitting around talking. It's a great game type table. I've got 3 of them in my house. This one stays in my studio. And right now it's collecting junk because I need to sit where I can control all the ins and outs of everything. So, okay, good. I can see the comments there. Perfect. So I am going to, because this is distracting. I do have the Georgia Institute of EMS page up, but it's distracting me, so I'm pulling it down. So here's the deal. I've been going through the paramedic refresher course, and I am trying to make my own way back to becoming a paramedic so that I can then become more than just media specialist at the school. I'll be teaching classes. I know Barb is very interested in me teaching in something that she's doing. I'm not sure how much they've announced. I'm not sure how much I could talk about with the expansions and what they're doing, but the school is growing beyond just EMT beginner and EMT advanced. It is growing, and beyond continuing education, it's growing into other areas. And I know Barb is very interested in me teaching in those areas, and Tom is interested in me teaching in the EMT stuff. And I gotta say, I've got some ideas of my own. Of classes to offer and places to go with what we're doing with the technology. And you need to see my boy. You need to see my boy Animal. If you don't know who Animal is, you need to look up the Muppets, and not Muppets Tonight, not that 2015, 2014 stuff. I'm talking about 1977 Muppets, 1980 Muppets, those kind of things. So yeah. So here's the deal. As you're watching, you can type into the chat, ask me a question, I'll answer anything. But I definitely want to talk about something we went over this week. Of course, we're going back over cardiac stuff, and I did okay there. We went over airway stuff, and I did okay there. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. No, it's been almost 11 years since I've been full-time on a truck. So that's a long, dusty corridor in my brain to bring back a lot of the stuff. And my problem is on tests, I overthink things. So there are a couple different kind of people in the world when it comes to tests. My buddy Douglas, He's a super chief, right? He's a volunteer fire chief. He's the EMA director. I think it's GEMA, not FEMA, but maybe both. I have no idea. But he's an EMA director for his county emergency management association. I think is what that stands for. I know it's emergency management something. I don't care. He's also an EMT, and he's gone through the courses. But I know I've known Douglas since I was 15 years old, and holy crap, yeah, that's a long. It's a long time. I've known Douglas. So holy crap, I'm just stuck on that number right now in my head. Anyway, he is the kind of person that tests poorly. Right. He's the kind of person that I don't know what happens, but he goes in to a test. Now, he'll know everything. I mean, I can ask him today. I can ask him on about some Civil Air Patrol stuff. He and I both did Civil Air Patrol in high school. And he can remember, he can tell me things about it, right? He can recite ordinances. He can tell me rules for Civil Air Patrol. But however, every time we took a test for something in there, boom, I ace it because that's who I am. And he might fail it. He might barely pass. He might struggle. And it's just that thing. So when it comes to test taking, if you're that kind of person who has a problem, has difficulty taking tests, I'm looking for somebody who has a problem taking tests, who has overcome it and found ways to teach other people who are like them to take tests. Because there's a skill to taking tests. I was taught test taking skills as a kid, and it doesn't apply to everything. But something Brooks said today. He said, Brooks is in my paramedic refresher class with me, and he said, for the test, you have to get your mind out of the streets, because I'm taking it for the third time, right? I took it back in 2000, I failed the first time, then immediately took it again, passed, and was a paramedic for 6-7 years. Well, okay, technically I was a paramedic longer than that, but I was active in the field for another 6 or 7 years. So yeah, it puts me about 3 to 4 years as an EMT. That's about right. So because I did about 10 years total in the field active as my only job. And I want to talk, and hopefully if I have time, if I don't run my mouth too much, I want to talk about some of the things I've learned. And it looks like I did an update on my broadcast stuff. It looks like it will tell me when messages pop up. That's kind of cool. That's a new feature. It's not showing me the Facebook message on my broadcast software, so I still need to use my phone, but it will tell me that it's there. That's awesome. So I am looking for somebody to talk to on the show, to have a discussion with that we can record and put up on the website about, if you're this kind of test taker, here's how you can approach a test. I'm the kind of guy that knows everything. I have an innate ability to see the puzzle and see how it unlocks. I'm getting that. I know that's over complicated, over egotistical, over blah, blah, blah. I understand that, but I'm getting to my point. So, but I'm the guy who can, I can see the key to the puzzle, and I can come in this other way that nobody else saw and get it done, right? Math, algebra was when I tried to do it by the book, and they said, do it this way. And I was homeschooled, so my mom was teaching me, do math this way. And but I could look at the problem and go, and it's so foreign to people who have to do things by the book that I had to then learn. This is what helped me develop my communication skills. I had to then learn how to figure out for myself, figure out where you're coming from, and then take my method and change it to a way you can see to get there. That plays into natural test taking skills. I was also taught basic tests, right? Usually there's a right answer, and if it's multiple choice, there's one right answer, 3 wrong answers. That's not necessarily the case anymore today, especially going into the paramedic test. There is 4 right answers. Which one's the most correct? Sometimes, right? There's 4 wrong answers. Which one's the least wrong? So I know the SAT kind of does that too for those of you in high school that are moving on. So my point is, Brooks was saying something to me today, because I have a great app. I'm going to talk about this app that I found. And this might be the only time I talk about it, because I'd love for them to sponsor what we do here with EMS Underground. Sponsor the discussion, enable. There's another word for it. Not enable the discussion, but basically make it to where we can talk and they give us money for it, and that'd be very helpful. But I will tell you what the app is. So stay tuned in just a second. I won't tell you what that app is. But a lot of people will take the test, practice it, and something in here doesn't click. I overthink. I got this app. It's practice test taking. I love it. It's right up my alley of very clear, easy to read, very easy to pick your answers, very, very easy to use. Love it. And I found myself overthinking the question. There was a hypovolemic patient who's stable, is basically the question. I mean, it gave me the vitals, but the vitals say hypovolemic patient who's stable. What do you do? My first thought is fluid bolus. Well, it's not that simple, right? They don't put fluid bolus there. It had a couple of different things written. One of them being dopamine at what I knew the formula to be for dopamine to be, and then followed by dobutamine, which is, I don't think that's correct, but I'm overthinking it. But I'm looking, there was a 200 to 500 milliliter bolus. They didn't call it a bolus, but administered 200 to 500 milliliters of saline solution to then prepare for a vasopressin. Well, instantly I went, that's a bolus, but I don't typically give vasopressins in the field because I'm thinking in the field. That's how I'm very practically minded when it comes to tests. So that's how I picture it is, what am I doing on the truck? I got another question where that was perfect for, but so I was like, well, dummy me, I should have just said, okay, the first half of this answer is correct. I would give a bolus. Nothing else says bolus. Nothing else says give this dude fluid. Okay? Everything else is some kind of fancy drug treatment or something else that's incorrect. Well, I got stuck on vasopressin, so I picked dopamine. Wrong. But here's what's great about the app. It said, okay, show the answer or show explanation. And it's like, here's the vasopressins you would give. Da, 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 da. Well, what Brooke said was very smart today. Brooke said for the test. Now, this is hard to explain to students, right? Because you're not in the field. You don't have that. I've done it this way for 10 years behind you. You have the book learning and what your teacher taught you, which is a separate kind of disadvantage for taking a test. I have a disadvantage. This is how I did it. And I have 10 years of rusty cobwebs of, I kind of remember that drug. I don't remember why. Those kind of things. So overthink. But he said, get your head out of the streets and into the textbook. Think about perfect world. Time is frozen. Here's what the textbook says you'll do. If you're the only person to ever touch this patient, you're going to go bam, 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 bam. So that's fine. Now, one of the things I do, once I realize, okay, I'm overthinking, keep it simple, go with your instinct, because I've been picking some wrong answers because I overthought it, thought it was correct. But my instinct had said, give them epinephrine. My instinct had said, do this. And I went against my instinct and I hit what I thought was correct. And my instinct was the right one to have chosen. So there's all those things going on. But I'm also the guy that reviews by looking at PowerPoint, so I can do that. I mean, going to a class is great. And when I first went through EMT and paramedic, I needed the guidance of a teacher. But now, we didn't have hybrid schools then, right? We didn't have YouTube. There was no ability to get online and learn. Dating myself a little bit, my first review practice test came on 3x5 floppy disks, little disks that were shareware that were test generators. And I had to put them on my computer. There was like 4 disks. I think there was like one for each major section. This is EMT class. There was cardiac, there was trauma, there was airway, and I know there's 4, at least 4, if not 6 disks. So depending on the test I wanted to run, I had to put in the main disk first and set up the program. Then I'd say, okay, I want to do cardiac. Okay, please insert cardiac disk, and that's what I would do. And I got to tell you, that helped me pass the test because I just sat there over and over again going through the practice test going, okay, I'm weak in this area. I missed this. Let me go back over it and just doing it and doing it and doing it well. I don't know. I'm in a singing mood today. So I have that ability now. We've got apps. We've got hybrid schools. We've got YouTube. We've got websites that will help train you to get past the national registry. Excuse me. So I can absolutely give you some practical thinking on how to get past tests. And this is the last part. We'll talk about the test, and then we'll show you the app and talk about it. And then we'll move on to something we covered in Paramedic Refresher. But I told you I was going to give you a practical example. So there was a question that says you get called to a house, and it's an elderly couple. And, of course, I'm paraphrasing because I'm not reading directly from the question. You get called to a house for an elderly couple for, I think it's a heart attack or not breathing, unresponsive, those kind of things. And you get there, and it says you find 82-year-old male, blah, 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 asystole on the monitor, no respirations, your partner's doing one-man CPR. Hey, Charlie, how's it going? Your partner's doing one-man resuscitation while you get the defibrillator pads ready. And the wife says, please stop, don't do that. I'd like him to die in peace. And there's 4 questions. He goes, and the question was, what do you do? And there's 4 answers. Well, all of them are legit. One was ask her for DNR paperwork. One was do it anyway. One, I forget what one was, but it was more like honor her request, but basically get the F out. But the one I picked was the one I would do, is respect her wishes, call medical control, explain the situation while we still did CPR, and just clear it with them. And that was the right answer, because that's what I would do. I want to respect human life and human wishes. And if she wants her husband to die in peace, he's got a history of whatever, I get that. But legally, I can't just go, oh, okay, sure, no problem. So I need to be respectful, but also get that legal backing. And that was easy answer for me. That was easy. So that's how I approach test taking, is thinking like that. So we'll keep your comments in the background. So let's see if you're going to be able to see it here. Come on. There it is. It's that purple, the white one at the bottom with the purple stylized P. It says Paramedic. I typed in the word Paramedic in the Apple store, and just to see what would come up. And this is called Pocket Prep. I am unclear on if they have an EMT version. I would highly suggest going to pocketprep.com, or if you have iOS, if you have an iPhone or iPad, or even the Google Play Store, just type in the word EMT or EMT exam and see what comes up. And this is National Registry based, and I'm not doing super well on it, but this is the main load screen. So very clean, very easy to use. If you can kind of see there's a 45% there because I haven't been doing great on my practice exams. You get 30 questions to start with for free, and if you follow them on Twitter and like them on Facebook and mention them on Facebook, you get 30 more. For $17.98, you get the whole thing unlocked, one-time fee, 600 questions plus a question of the day. And at the top here, it says today's practice question is ready. Let's attempt it. Let's attempt this question. 26-year-old full-term pregnant female appears to be in active labor. She reports that she's experiencing intermittent abdominal pain consistent with contractions. Which of the following signs should alert the paramedic to prepare for imminent childbirth on scene? Without looking at the answers yet, I'm going to tell you, the head sticking out will tell me to prepare for imminent birth. Water breaking is second to that. So let's see what the choices are. Irregular contractions with varying intensity that last longer than 2 minutes each. Regular contractions that last 45 to 60 seconds each at no more than 2-minute intervals. That's a good choice. Regular contractions lasting longer than 2 minutes coming at 4 to 5 minute intervals. Regular contractions lasting 30 to 45 seconds occurring every 8 to 20 minutes. Well, that one's crap. So the one I liked, let's go back to it. Regular contractions that last 45 to 60 seconds each at no more than 2-minute intervals. Is there anything less than that? There's nothing less than that as far as regular contractions go. So that's what I'm going to pick. And done. And ding, ding, ding. Got the green light. And just like that. And even on the right answer, it says show explanation. And I love this part. So it gives you the correct answer, which quotes the thing, even though it shows you right above it. I know the lighting is not great. Here we go. Even though it shows you the answer right above it, it quotes the answer again, just so you're clear on the right answer. And then it gives you the explanation of all the answers. So the first paragraph is why this is the right one. And this one's a little bit longer than others, but it goes into a second paragraph that says, here's why the others are wrong. So you can actually learn stuff about the other answers that will help you determine other things. And then it gives you a reference. This is from Mosby's Paramedic textbook, chapter 46, page 1295. So that is very cool. I like that about this app. It will track how many questions I've attempted. It will track, I can somehow, I think in the settings, I haven't done it yet, but I can put in when I'm going to take my exam, which I haven't even set that up yet. And then, like I said, for $17.98, I know I can get the Go Premium. So 600 practice questions, and you get lifetime access to all practice questions, including the question of the day bonus content, endless questions of the day, because right now I'm going to get 14 on the free version, but I'll get endless. Build your own exam, so then I can start taking the answers that I have messed up, and I can put it on the exam, build an exam of just wrong of the things I've messed up and help study there. Then they've got people to help and those kind of stuff. No subscriptions, no problem. Complete a one-time purchase for lifetime access to premium features and content. $17.99, man. I got to tell you, I've seen other sites. $40 gets you 3 months of access, which I thought was quite reasonable. But less than $20 is half price, and it's in my pocket all the time. So that's what I'm looking at there. So that's what I've been going through lately. If you have questions about taking tasks, whatnot, let me know, and I'll help you as best I can. So let's get into what I'm really good at. Let's talk about the life of the paramedic. And we went through behavioral medicine on Tuesday. We did behavioral medicine. And, of course, PTSD comes up. And, of course, there's autism. There's all kind of other things. And I'm actually Brent. Okay, it is Pocket Prep. Pocket Prep. And this is the paramedic one. And it literally says paramedic underneath it. So I'm wondering if maybe they'll have an EMT advanced, those kind of things. It is National Registry. I don't know if certified is the correct thing, but it is for National Registry. Obviously, I think it'd be a whole lot of convoluted effort to do state by state as far as tests go. But if you have to take the registry, that's what pretty much everybody has to take nowadays. So there you go. But it's Pocket Prep is the app. I got the paramedic version. That's the only one I looked for. So possibly there is an EMT version, which would be very nice for everybody. So again, ask me a question and I'll do what I can answer. But I want to talk about PTSD. And I'm very close to the mental health field. I've had my own personal, as a patient, had some dealings with it. I've had family members who were born with disabilities, both mental disabilities and physical disabilities. So I grew up all my life around people who needed extra attention, extra care, different ways of doing things. Being in the field, I've definitely interacted with attempted suicides. I've interacted with panic attacks. I've interacted with all kind of levels of behavioral medicine. It's something that I've been around all my life. So I would say it's near and dear to my heart, but I would say it's something that I'm very, very aware of, especially after going through what I went through in EMS and having a kid die for no reason on me and letting that be the straw that broke the camel's back. And I needed help and I wasn't sleeping and ended up going to a stress debriefing counselor. And that's what I want to talk about. Critical stress debriefing. I might have mentioned it on the show before, but it's very important. And you're welcome, Brent. I'm glad you found it. Let me know. You know what, Brent? Let me know if you found an EMT version or if it's just paramedic version, because I'm too lazy to do my own research. So, critical stress debriefing is, in my very limited experience and learning about it, and then my limited experience in using it, it seems to only be for the big deals, the bus crashes, the 9/11s. We had one where a paramedic, a coworker, I was active at the time, a very close friend of mine, she was going home. She got off shift that morning, was going home, hydroplaned right into a tree and died. And we had a debriefing about that because we all worked closely with her. There were people on shift that had to run the call because it's still in our territory. When it happened, I think it was just our side of the line of what went on. So they had to run the call. And so you're taking care of one of your own. And Brent does say there's an EMT version. So cool. I'm telling you so far, the price is right. And going back to Pocket Brett, the price is right. For me, the interaction is perfect because it's on my phone, it's on my tablet, it's mobile. Whereas going to a website, I have to have my computer with me, or I have to be sitting down at a computer, and I need to, in my mind, I'm saying I need to focus on it for 20, 30 minutes. Here, I can spend 10 minutes doing a quick prep test, and it'll keep track of what I missed. I failed to mention that. It keeps track of what you missed, so you can go and review what you missed and see your weak areas. And I mean, I got to tell you, it's right up my alley. And I know there's other websites out there. I'm not disparaging anybody. I'm sure there's great websites. I'm just telling you, this does it for me. And I just want people to know about that. Cool. Found that in EMT prep. Same people that do practical videos. Cool, Brent. Cool. Anyway, critical stress. So we had a critical stress debriefing where county responders could come, where the EMS personnel could come and talk about how her death affected us both on a personal level and a professional level, because it's a coworker. It's somebody you interact with. You had to run the call and somebody you recognized. Those kind of things. The other time was I had a 12-year-old kid who was at a camp, safely monitored, climbing up a rock wall, and just stopped climbing. And I know I've talked about this, so just quickly. He just dead, and everything went by the book. And the only thing keeping me stable on my own, and I'm stressing this, I want you to hear this, on my own, the only thing that was keeping me mentally stable was I could rationalize everything away. Old people die because they're old. Trauma victims die because of trauma. So on and so forth. And actually, that's usually all I ever said. And I never really dove into more of that. And so I was never out to save lives. I was out to just do what I can to get you to hospital. While I do have a few saves under my belt, I never had that hero complex of I saved their life. Like, no, I know I'm part of a system that I can do good in. So I was just having really hard times with my wife. And we were early marriage, lots of baggage in my life. It was rough times. I've talked about it on other podcasts. rockoutofpodcasting.com is one of those. But I just, newly married, wife stress. Hated my landlord, house/rental stress. Bad with my money, my fault. Because my wife and I were both working. There's no excuse we couldn't pay our bills, but we were struggling. Bad with my money, financial stress. EMS without the bad calls. EMS is stressful because I was young and unimmune to the haters. I always felt like everybody was against me. Cops and firefighters get mentioned all the time in the news. Nowadays, a little more negatively. But when I was going through, cops rescued, okay, this is not true, but cops rescued a cat. Firefighters rescued a dog. It's always about firefighters on the scene say, because EMS got lumped in. Well, for some reason, I made that my FU line because I worked for a private ambulance service. I'm a paramedic. I'm not a firefighter. Never have been. Honestly, I never have been. Have zero desire for that. I respect firefighters now. I was taught to disrespect them for a long time. Actually wanted to be a police officer for a little bit. Could not. Well, there's this thing about saying not that I have. I was unable to make the cut at the time, and I did not choose to discipline myself to try to reshape my body and exercise and try again. I chose to give up on that path, which is probably better because I had tons of anger issues. I had tons of injustice issues. So just baggage, right? But I respect police officers when they're good and they do their job. I totally will take you down in a heartbeat if you're bad at your job. I think everybody's a human being. I respect that you're doing a tough job, but you have to be a human being first. There's that. Same with firefighters, same with medics. You have to be a human being first. So I had all this stress going on in my life. All this victimology. Also, let's talk about that for a second. We'll see it in the field, right? We'll see the person who plays the victim. We make jokes about it. The fender bender with MARTA, where everybody on the train goes, oh, my back, my neck, because it's MARTA, and they think they can get some money. The fender bender, when somebody else hits you, doesn't matter if they have a nice car or not. Oh, my neck, my back. It's my neck, my back, my lawyer is a joke, right? So we see that. And then we see people who want to be the victim of things. So they call you because they have this issue or that issue. Maybe they're lonely, but they're calling about chest pain. Maybe they're drug addicts and they're in withdrawals and they need a hit. But that's still some victimology, right? That's some victim mentality. We have it too. Being medics and EMTs, we have it too. And it comes out in blaming the patients, blaming other organizations, saying people are, just out to get us, or saying the office people don't understand and they're here to keep us down. Blame is a victim mentality. And I had it because I blamed the job I worked for because I didn't get paid enough. I made $32,000 a year, which is more than I make now. And I had no kids. It was just me and my wife. My wife worked. So she made, I don't know how much money a year. We let's say 20. So $50,000 a year, two people should be able to live. And we were very, very bad with our money. But I blamed the jobs that we had. I blamed all my issues on other people. That is a stress. Playing the victim, playing the blame game will stress you out. You are responsible for your choices. You're also now responsible for other people's lives. You're responsible for your partner's life. You're responsible for the patient's life. One of those is legal. The other's just industry standard, right? If we don't take care of each other, who will? Sometimes you are literally the only two people out there, depending on where you work. You need to be able to take care of your partner and trust your partner. So I did all that, had all that stress, and it ended up collapsing in on me. I ended up under the table, had a nervous breakdown, cried myself silly, had a fight with my wife that kicked it off, just done, and reached out to people who should have been able to just talk. But that's to me, because all I needed to know was it's going to be okay. I needed a place to talk about my thoughts, to see where I was wrong. Counseling to a point, but discussion. Sometimes you just need discussion. Sometimes you just need a different point of view from somebody you respect and you love, or at least you'll listen to. Sometimes you just need that. And I reached out and ultimately got referred to a critical stress counselor. And it wasn't that good. The only thing I remember him really telling me is you have to talk to your wife. You have to talk to your loved ones about what's going on. Otherwise, you'll destroy your marriage. But it's basically that dry. He goes, other than that, you had this issue. Yeah, you're going to have bad dreams for a while. Yeah, I don't know what I told him. I didn't tell him everything. I just told him about this one call. But see, it was this minute thing to him when he's trained to handle big groups of people with big, massive stressors. But that's not the world we live in. Why do you think people take early retirement? And early retirement means suicide. Why do you think they take early retirement as police officers, as firefighters, as paramedics? I've heard, I'll just say, Brooks said today that, not today, but in the other class, Brooks said that Tim, it's just a job. He goes in, he does a job, he leaves it at work. I hope that's true for him, because that's fine. That's healthy if you can do that. I have no ability to do that. I get involved in things. I connect with people, and without going too far out there, I think we all have energy that we put into people. You go to the cashier at Publix, and she takes a verbal crap on you because she's having a bad day. Now you're having a bad day. She invested her negative energy into you, and you took it. So I think when I'm there with my partners and helping keeping them strong, when I'm there with the firefighters and we're working as a team, and we're talking and encouraging things. When I'm there with the patients, especially the conscious ones, talking to them, trying to get them through, doing what I can. I'm investing energy in them. Combined with all the other things I was doing at the time, that's a lot of stress. You need to be able to talk about things that bother you. And you need to keep trying until you find somebody. That's something I would love to do at Georgia Institute of EMS. Maybe next year. I mean, this year I have to get my teaching stuff taken care of. We have to see what unfolds this calendar year with the new expansions that they're doing, where I'm going to fit in, how things are going to take off. But I'd love to teach a class. Maybe it's like ACLS, where it's a 2-day class. I'm not even sure. And it actually probably should be more like a week long. And I'm not sure how it'll play out. But a class to teach medics to be listeners, to be somebody that can be taught to be a counselor of sorts. I hesitate to use that word counselor because that does tend to indicate certifications. It indicates state regulated training or federal regulated training. It indicates other than what I'm trying to talk about. I'm trying to talk about beyond critical stress. Somewhere in between the dark humor around the smoking table and somewhere in between the tabletops of here's what happens, how can we do it better? And then there's critical stress debriefing where this major event happened that was a bomb in everybody's life. We need to have somebody who anybody can go to that will let you go. I don't know what to do with my life now. I don't know what to do with my life now because I was able to say old people died because they were old. They had a long life. Trauma victims died because of massive trauma. But this kid had nothing wrong with him. No allergies, no bee stings, no poisons, no nothing. And he just died. And I don't know. And my whole life, my whole career, my whole everything at that point was predicated on I can rationalize death away. I did my best. I did what I could. I can rationalize it away. And then there's a moment you can't rationalize. I needed to be able to talk to somebody, to have them go, let's give you a different point of view, to have them say, maybe, in my case, I needed counseling. I mean, I needed to be referred to a counselor to really dig into life, to dig into helping fix my marriage, to dig into me getting rid of a lot of my baggage. This is a first responder. That's what I'm talking about. A first responder, an emotional first responder. That's what I'm talking about. Somebody, you can come to me in my office and you can start saying stuff. And if I can help you, I can talk through the call with you. I can help you understand the larger ramifications in life and what's playing into and maybe why you're feeling the way you're feeling. I can identify that you need more help. And here's 2 or 3 different counselors. I need you really, if you want a happy life, if you want a happy marriage, you're going to need to go talk to these counselors. I know they're actual psychologists and psychiatrists on the police force, but most major police forces have their own shrink. This is less than that. This is a first responder. Let's keep you healthy. And that's something that came up in PTSD. James was talking about Project Green, which I hadn't heard of, and a class he went to about PTSD and how the guy came out and said, how many people have seen a major fire where people died? How many people have worked, major car accident? How many people have, and there's a long list of things that most medics and firefighters have seen. And he said, any one of those events for any given human being can be post-traumatic stress, right? It can mess you up. And we see this stuff. Some people see this stuff every day. All of those things. Some of us see it multiple times in our career. Different things affect people differently. I've seen 2 trains versus people, 2 different trains versus 2 different people in my career. That's not something you see on a normal basis. I've seen it twice. Made jokes about it. I can tell you stories about it. It was like, that happened. One of the worst ones I saw was a car accident where these two young parents veered off the road and went down in a ditch. And the car seat with a kid in it ended up in the windshield. And I think the kid probably died. I mean, he had massive head trauma. And what messed me up, what got to me on that call was the parents tried. They just had no education. They had no idea that you buckled the seat to the safety seat to the car. So the kid was strapped, snugged into a child protective seat and started off backwards like it shows on the picture. There's stupid people in this world. I mean, there's ignorant people in this world. And they were trying and nobody helped them. Or they didn't get help, whatever. And this kid died, strapped into a car seat. And it's tragic because it could have been prevented. I probably should have talked about that to somebody. I think I started talking to my wife at some point. Because here's the other thing. Here's the other thing about us. We have to debrief. We have to get partners to carry the load. And old school medics, man, old school medics will mock you maybe. They will tell you to suck it up. They will shut you down. Because that's the way they were taught. Men versus women. Men have a hard time talking about their feelings, how things affect them. Nowadays, I mean, we hear slurs like millennials. And yeah, that's a slur. That's a negative term that is being used. We hear slurs like snowflakes because they need a safe space. But you know what? Maybe there are people who are taking it too far. But you know who's never taken it anywhere is EMS and fire and police. And we're the industry that needs a safe space to go and talk about this affected me. And we need to do it with people who are trained to recognize symptoms that are deeper than just, I'm having trouble with this call. We need to do it with people who are trained to see that you might need more help. We need to do it with people who are trained to understand that life happens, because God forbid, the last thing we need is to get somebody in an office in a national EMS or even at Georgia Institute of EMS where students can come and say, you know, I did a third ride this week and I saw this horrible thing. And God forbid you get somebody in the school that everything is, oh, you can have counseling. Oh, you need to see a doctor. No. We need somebody who's strong enough to go, tell me about it. I'll help take that burden off of you. Tell me about it. Let me give you some of my wisdom from my years of experience, from how I've paid attention to life. Okay, I can see this is affecting you much deeper than I can help you with. We've built up a trust here. I need you to trust me more and go see this counselor. They will help you, and you'll still be able to come back through school. You'll still be able to do what you need to do. And I think that's important. I've seen EMTs who are great at their job leave careers over a single call. I've seen partnerships blow up because of the two different ways they handled a call. Not literally handle, but you know what I'm saying, the emotional processing of the call. I've seen marriages end because the medic, the EMT, won't talk to their spouse. So they're carrying this weight of the world on them, properly or improperly. They're carrying the weight of the world on them. And their spouse who loves them sees that and can't help them. Right? They want to help them. They can't help them. And then it when you carry something like that, it's a cancer. When you carry the darkness of the call, of the what happened with you, it affects everything. You start snapping out. And the place you snap most is at home. I've seen it bring people to kill themselves. And I've determined early on, never me. I want to keep my first wife. I'll do whatever it takes to keep my first wife. I thought that meant quitting. Partially, I thought that meant quitting EMS. I mean, I quit for many reasons. I walked away for many reasons. I'm coming back for other different reasons. But I have a very strong marriage. Same woman, 16 years, 4 kids, very happy. Going through some tough times, but we talk. If you feel like you're all alone, you need to have somebody. And that's why I think these emotional first responders, there's got to be a better name. Somebody's got to come up with a better name. But I think we can start training people to do that in companies. So you would have somebody to go to talk to. Because otherwise, you get fat or you get abusive of substances, alcohol, drugs, food, sex. We've all seen it, right? If you've been in the field at all, actually, if you really kind of paid attention to high school or life around you, you've seen it, how people cope with things. There's a great quote I saw come across my Facebook page, and it had the picture of Robin Williams on it. And it says, everybody is fighting a battle that you'll never understand or never see. Be kind and invest in a life. You have some patience. I messed up the quote, but that was the gist of it. And that's true. When you come across a medic who says nothing bothers him, there's something that you don't know. There's always something you don't know about them. You come across somebody like me who loves to talk. I still have stuff I'm fighting and dealing with that you'll never know. We all are fighting our own battles. And when you understand that everybody is like you in that way, you can connect to humankind much better, especially on the truck, especially with patients, especially with the 3 a.m., my stomach hurts or fake suicide attempt calls. You'll have more patience and more understanding, and you'll stop punishing patients, because we've seen that too. I've seen stress bring medics to hate patients, to punish them with anything after midnight gets a 16-gauge needle. To what end is that working for you? Because you still are bitchy. You're still cranky. You're still unhappy that you're taking this call. So that didn't give you any pleasure to torture the person. Well, legally, it's fine. And you can justify just about anything you want on the back of the truck if you write it the right way. What good did that bring? You're still unhappy. You're still stressed. So that's something I want to bring forward. And it really struck home with me this week. People with kids. I've seen medics who can handle the worst calls the second a kid's involved. I mean, as soon as they're done with the call, they got to be calling their kids and just hear their voice and just want to tell them they love them. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, kids are a fairly sensitive spot for a lot of people. So here on the EMS Underground, it's public. I mean, that's the thing. You can message the page. You can message Georgia Institute of EMS. I'm here to talk to you. I will absolutely give you a listening ear. I will try to give you the right words that will help you. And I'll try to keep the advice at a minimum. Because being told what to do in those situations is typically counterproductive. But just being able to talk about it and hear somebody say, no, it's going to be okay. You're right. That's a bad deal that you're dealing with. It's dark and it's crappy and it stinks, but it will get better. And here's why I can tell you it'll get better. Here's my story of something similar. Now I can identify with that. I can do that for you. The one last thing I want to talk about before we get out of today is making money currently while planning for the future, planning for your future is difficult. I think most of the American society, at least, if not the world society as a whole, is taught you take this certain path. And depending on where you are in the world, it's a slightly different path. But in America, it's you go through high school, you graduate high school, go to college, get a college degree, go get a job working for the man. do the best you can. Maybe you'll get promotions and blah blah blah. Done. Very little entrepreneurship is encouraged in America as a whole, as a percentage in society. Although hopefully that's changing. When you get into, say, my story is I wanted to be a U.S. Marshal at one point and went to school to get criminal justice degree. Didn't agree with school at all. It was an imperfect fit for me. I'll tell that story sometime if you ask about it. But I still want to kind of pursue criminal justice, get introduced to the EMS field, got into EMS. And my mom was so scared of me becoming a cop because I'm a big guy. I'm 6'6". At the time, I was 370 pounds. I'm actually less than that now. But I'm a big, broad giant of a man. Oh, you've got a huge target on your back. I heard that a lot. And I didn't care. I still wanted to do it. So when I went to EMT school, my mom was very happy because that's a noble profession. When I was getting ready to go to paramedic school, my mom was happy because that's a noble profession. When I let my numbers drop, what are you going to do with your life now? Even though I was doing things in my life, I was becoming a podcaster. I was on the forefront of this media, all this thing that is new to everybody, Facebook Live. I've been doing this for 12, 13 years. There's been people doing it longer, making their own way in this world, outside of radio, outside of TV, making their own media. But I've been on this forefront for a very long time. And I was there then. And my mom just didn't understand. It didn't understand at all. And that's society for you. Oh, you're a nurse. You're a doctor. No, that's not for, it's all about the why. And we'll get into that in some other show. But if you're working as an EMT or medic, or right now, possibly you're a student. You're a student who is working a full-time job, right? And you're trying to go to EMT school. And that's why you came to the Georgia Institute of EMS, because it's a hybrid school. You can do a lot of your lectures online. So that's great because you get home 10 o'clock at night after shift and you're awake. You feel okay. But nobody does class at 10 o'clock at night, except we do. You can take your class at 10 o'clock at night and do the lectures. And 1 or 2 days a month, you arrange to come in and you have to do hands-on tutorials and you have to do checkoffs and tests and whatnot. But it works for you. Great. But it's hard, right? It's difficult. That's what I'm going through right now. I'm still working my butt off to provide for my family. I'm still working on building my media empire. I run a network. I have a network that, while it's not profitable, it is making income and it is growing quickly every day. And it is my love and it's my passion. GiantSizeTeamUp.com, by the way, if you're into comic book podcasts, that's my network. I have 3 partners. We take all this seriously. I work for myself. So I have to find those jobs. I have to find those gigs. Things are really tight right now. And quite honestly, going back through paramedic refresher class and taking ACLS and PALS is diminishing my ability to earn money on my own timetable. But what it's doing is investing in my future, because I do love to teach. I still have a heart for medicine. I definitely have a heart for people who get out there and do this job every day. The next generation that's coming up that wants to get out there and do this job, I have a heart for that. I have zero heart for getting back on the truck. Those days are done. Those days are done. But I'm preparing for my future in a very measured out step process that, while right now hurts my ability to earn income, it will open many, many doors. And I only know a few doors that it absolutely can open. And who knows beyond that what it will do. Taking care of yourself is the hardest job you'll ever have. Add lives to that. Add a spouse. Add children. A little more difficult. Add patients. Add partners. It's pretty Pretty difficult. It's tough. Can you do it? That's for you to figure out. But you know what? I'm here to give you all the encouragement I can. I am here to keep you going. I love doing EMS Underground. Next week, we're going to do it on Wednesday instead of Thursday because I have PALS Thursday and Friday that I need to take and get my certification. Tom hates missing these shows. We had so much going last week when we're together. That energy's there and it just clicks and it's a great discussion. And he misses that. And I miss when he's not here. But I got hired to do this, to keep this going every week, to keep it on the page, to keep the word going out there of we're here to help you. What do you want to know? You want to know the answer to a question? Google it. You want some insight on why things work? I can give you insight on why some medicine works. I can give you insight on how to not diagnose, but how to understand patients from what they say. I can help you with all kinds of things. Tom can help you with all kinds of things. And when you listen to us together, we really go into the underground of EMS. We go into the stuff of the business side of it that people don't talk about. We go into the good, the bad, and the ugly that people refrain from talking about. We're going to talk about it. So whatever you want this to be, this is yours. We're here. We're here to help. Now, one last thing, I talked about PALS. I've talked about ACLS. I'm going to show you those dates real quick. So let me get this pulled up here. All right, get that transferred over. And as you see, ACLS is coming up this Monday. I will be there. March 6th and 7th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. is when it is. And I do need to talk to Tom about hiding this 2 days under the Moore. That should be at the top. You need to know it's a 2-day course. But this is where if you have never had ACLS, now is the time to get it if it's the kind of thing that you need. PALS, same thing next week, but it's Thursday, Friday. So Monday, Tuesday is ACLS. Wednesday, I'm actually going to be in paramedic research class, and I'm going to come home and I'm going to do the show here on Facebook. And then Thursday, I'll be back 9 a.m. in Covington to do the PALS course, 9 and 10 a.m. So that's going on. Hit us up right here. It's in Covington. A lot of times during the day, you can go in, ask questions, and there's an address. But telephone is 678-561-2368. The 678-561-AEMT or info@GAIEMS.com. GAIEMS.com. And you can see below it, the next week is ACLS Research, which I'm just double checking. It's a 1-day course, so it's just to update your certification. PALS is Tuesday, March 14th. Again, that's next week. HCP BLS, which is CPR essentially, is Wednesday the 15th, which I guess I'm probably going to have to do that too. But I love it. It's 1 to 5, so it's only in the afternoon there. And then we are starting a new EMT and AEMT class coming up at the end of March, beginning of May. So definitely check those things out. Again, hey, come hang out with me. Come play. Come have some fun. I will be in the ACLS class. I'm going to be a little late on Monday because I have to make some money. And I've already committed to a gig, and it fell that the class was that same day. But I'm going to make my gig in the morning as fast as I can. Then I'm going to come before lunchtime and get ACLS and get it done. Trying to think of anything else, but that's it. So next week will be Wednesday. Send me your questions. Hit me up. I mean, use that email address. They'll forward it to me. It is, or Tom will talk to me about it. info@GAIEMS.com. info@GAIEMS.com. We're here to help. If you're a student of ours, we're here to answer all your questions. You need to know about interacting with people on your third ride. You need to talk to me. All day long, talk to me. If you're not a student of ours, you're a student somewhere else, talk to us. If you're a paramedic that has questions, if you're an EMT, if you want to challenge some of the stuff I say, by all means, come out, ask questions. Let's talk about it. Let's have some fun while we do it. But that's going to be it for today for the EMS Underground. I'm Charles McFall. If you want to know more about me, see more of my style of podcast and entertainment, I'm going to be at Dragon Con in September. That's coming up. And that's big. Check out my network, giantsizeteamup.com, and you can see all of my podcasts and my production. I'm also a producer, those kind of things too, at charlesmcfault.com. Come back next week. We'll talk some more.